during the course of the year, I tried to look for finances to go start my own school. I didn't have the finances. I actually approached my parents and I asked them whether I could get a few shillings so that I could start the school. But unfortunately, there was no money, and actually my mother felt I was too young to start a business. I was in my early 20s, and she felt I was too young. And therefore she told me, why don't you first get a family, maybe put a few coins together, and eventually you'll be able to do all the businesses you want to do in the world. When one is starting a business, or thinking that eventually one will start a business, normally the question at the back of your mind is how, when, and sometimes we tend to overthink. But I do think that the journey is way much more simpler. The Bible says, write down your vision and it will come to be, and I think that's all that God expects of us. Because for me, once I finished school, I found myself in a private school, and I was assigned to a teacher to guide me through the process of the school. And I remember when I reported to that particular school, I was paid very little amount of money. In fact, I felt like it wasn't enough to cover ed month to ed month. But at least the good thing is that I knew that it was the beginning of a particular journey. My journey of teaching is even as I hoped that eventually I would find a better position or a better opportunity. And normally I tell young people then, take whatever is available. At least you get the experience that is necessary. So that's what I did. I took up the job. And I remember when I reported to the staff room, I was assigned a teacher. And when I reported to her desk, I found that she was a senior teacher in that school, but she was actually crying. And it was my first day, and she was there, she was seated, she was shedding tears, and I was really puzzled. Why would the person I'm reporting to, the senior person in the department, be crying? But since I was a stranger and she was a stranger, I could only sit and wait for her to wipe her tears and then get back to tell me what I would do in the school. So I sat there, and I remember sitting there and contemplating, why would this madam be shedding tears? And she obviously looks much more experienced than I am, a little older. And I realized that it must be the conditions of the school, because the day was so gone for her to be distressed over something that may have come from home. So I realized it was the conditions of the school. And as I sat in that seat, I thought, throughout my journey, I have never seen teachers just shedding tears like that. They're normally very resilient. And I knew the challenge was the environment at work. And I made a resolution as I sat on that seat, that one, I'll work. But the day I will shed tears would be the day I would leave that job. And therefore, I got into the job and I was alert in case of anything. However, I was able to work there for some time, but for sure, a day came and I cried. And I realized the director in that school, or the people who were in charge, the management, weren't careful about the people God had entrusted in their hands. They weren't careful with the children. The children were receiving very harsh treatment, including discipline. The teachers were also receiving quite harsh discipline. There was no respect for the human dignity for the rest of the people who were in that institution. And as the year that I was there continued, I actually started desiring to start a school, because my heart kept telling me that there is a better way to do things. There is a better way to do things. These things, if a school that people are being treated like this is still surviving, is still, looking like it has so many people who are looking for its services, then how much more a school that honors the dignity of human beings, how much more would it actually do? So at that point when I was seated in that desk in front of the teacher, those thoughts formed the basis upon which we have built MGA schools. It's a school in which the dignity of the human beings that exist within the walls and the pavements of the school are respected and given their due diligence. They are given their due respect, let me call it like that. Because I believe that there is an inner person in each child, in each staff member, in each parent that needs to be listened to, needs to be heard, and needs to be seen. So basically, I worked there. During the course of the year, I tried to look for finances to go start my own school. I didn't have the finances. I actually approached my parents and I asked them whether I could get a few shillings so that I could start the school. But unfortunately, there was no money, and actually my mother felt I was too young to start a business. I was in my early 20s, and she felt I was too young, and therefore she told me, why don't you first get a family, maybe put a few coins together, and eventually you'll be able to do all the businesses you want to do in the world. So that was the wisdom of my mother, and I did not start then, but the seed was planted in my heart, and I knew that eventually I would want to start a school, and the school that I would start would be a school with a difference.